My cousin Rhea is a self-proclaimed foodie. She loves food and loves tasting exotic cuisine. She also enjoys traveling, so much so that she created a blog called Wonder Foodie. I totally support my cousin, so I was surprised to learn that 3 weeks ago, she stopped posting. I called her over to my place and asked her what happened. She said she didn't feel like doing it anymore, ever since her last trip to Canada. I asked her again, and this is what she said. Rhea had decided to go on a road trip to a famous resort town, which was basically an 8-hour trip by land. Normally, a plane ride would lessen the travel time by 6 hours, but Rhea wanted to try the scenic route. She was only 2 hours away from the resort town when she suddenly felt tired and hungry. After all, it had been nearly 6 hours since her last meal, and she was feeling quite hungry. She drove on, but couldn't find a diner or a roadside restaurant, and she had already finished all of her takeout meals. She suddenly saw a roadside diner. She parked the car in the parking lot. She was quick to note that there were lots of cars and trucks parked as well. She then went inside the diner. The interior was a quintessential 1970s diner, complete with leather booth seats, formica tables, a long counter, and several bar stools. She was also quick to note that there weren't that many customers inside. She counted at least 5 to 7 customers. She took a seat on the counter where a waitress approached her. "Hello there," she said. "Welcome to our little diner. Can I interest you in our chef's special?" Chef's special? That piqued my cousin's interest. "What's the chef's special?" my cousin asked. The waitress replied, "Barbecue ribs with a pound burger, boiled potatoes, and meatballs." So she orders the chef's special. 10 minutes later, it arrived and was presented to her in all its glorious splendor. My cousin didn't even bother to take a photo of it like she normally did. She just went on to help herself. It was the most delicious thing she ever tasted, so she says. She then called the waitress over. "This is the best ribs I've ever tasted," she would say. "What's your secret? Is it the sauce? You must have put in some really good herbs, huh?" "The secret," the waitress would say, "is in the ingredients. Would you like seconds?" Normally, my cousin would always have seconds, especially if the meal she's had is delicious. This time, my cousin turned it down. Apparently, the chef's special was too good that it made her full. She then glanced at her phone. She hadn't realized that it was already 4 p.m. She immediately asked for the bill. The waitress seemed to be taking her sweet time in providing the bill, but my cousin paid for the special nevertheless. After she was done paying, she got up and left the diner. The waitress waved a friendly goodbye. "Thanks for coming. Come back soon." She had an eerie yet friendly smile on her face as she said so. She arrived at the town by 6 p.m. just as the sun was setting. She then went into the hotel she checked in at. The front desk then asked, "Miss Rhea, we were worried you wouldn't make it in time for your check-in. Was it hard to find the town?" "Oh no," Rhea replied. "I just happened to stop by at a quaint diner just a few miles away. I was having a late lunch and lost track of the time." The front desk manager and her assistant looked at each other and then at Rhea. "A diner? Where?" "It was in town before this. The 1970s American one, the one with the nearby gas station," she said. She suddenly noticed how their eyes widened with fear and worry. "Why?" "Miss Rhea," the manager started. "Did you see a lot of cars in the parking lot?" "Yes, but there were very few customers, so I assumed—" "Miss Rhea, you are a very lucky woman," the manager finished. "A lot of tourists and travelers would disappear when they passed the part of the road. that part of the road. Those cars you saw, they belong to so many tourists and travelers who have disappeared over the years." "But I saw some customers there, and they look like they just arrived," she said. "Did they leave as well?" the manager asked. When Rhea shook her head, the manager let out a sad sigh. "Poor souls." "Why?" Rhea asked. "What's wrong? Why do you say that?" This is where Rhea leans forward towards me to tell me exactly what the manager said. And what the manager said, and even I couldn't believe it, was something straight out of an urban legend come true. The story goes that if travelers approach a lone diner, they are greeted by friendly staff members. They are given the chef's special, and because it's so delicious, they ask for a second helping and stay further on until it's dark. And when that happens, the staff kill them. Rhea then asked, "What happens to the bodies?" "Those bodies become ingredients for the chef's special," he grimly said.